Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you, Mayor Curry, for putting on this wonderful program. What amazes me as I sit down and I listen, especially those that gave a speech, were the amount of lessons that you learned. The amount of things that you had no idea what to anticipate or what to expect, but if you didn't go through the process, you would have never learned it. And so I want to thank you, Mayor, for putting on this program. I want to thank you, Dawn. I want to thank you, Candace. Thank you, all the sponsors, all the jobs, everyone here. Thank the parents. Let's give the parents a round of applause. I remember, what was it, 6 weeks ago when we started this? When I got the call to come to speak a word into your life, it was one of the greatest privileges and opportunities that I had. I don't say yes to everything, but it was my honor and privilege to say yes to this. As I shared with you when we kicked it off, I'm a father of 5 children. I have a son who's 24, a daughter who's 19, a daughter who's 17, a daughter who's 15, and another daughter who's 8. So I'm surrounded by a whole lot of women. But one of the things I've learned in raising children is at the end of the day, you want to partner with us as parents. You want to partner with us as your teachers, instructors, employers. And so over the next few minutes, I'm going to share a couple words with you again that's going to encourage you as you move forward. Today is about you. Today is a celebration of you. When asked, what are some of the keys to living life to the fullest? What are some of the keys that you can take from this moment and move forward? I always stress the importance of learning from your past so you can properly prepare for your future. There's about 3 quotes that I want to give you that I tend to live my life by. One, it says, study the past if you want to define the future. Number 2, we are products of our past, but we don't have to be prisoners of it. And number 3, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. For the next few minutes, I want you to take a brave look at your life over these last 6 weeks and even over this last year. As you look at your life, what brought you to this point? What brought you to this CareerSource program? What brought you to this opportunity? Did you get out of it what you wanted? Did you achieve the goals that you set out to achieve? What things did you do, or what lessons did you learn that help you come to the conclusion that helps you move forward? Hopefully everyone has been able to walk away with something that's going to help you as you move forward. Some of you may not be able to move forward because you're not taking a personal inventory of your life. As you begin to look at your dreams, you look at your goals, I want you to look at it from an emotional standpoint, an intellectual standpoint, and a spiritual standpoint. When you think about what were the things and the lessons that your employer taught you? What were the things that some of your colleagues taught you? What were some of those lessons? How many things did you learn when you just take time thinking over these last few weeks? How was your past influence where you are right now? Do you know that we are products of our environment? Some of the things that we do as a person from Camden, New Jersey, as I shared before, when I walked out of my house, on one side was gangs, on the other side was drug dealers. Every single day, I was faced with the opportunity to make a decision. But for me, because I kept seeing my mother, who was a mother of 5 children, sacrifice, I said, I gotta make a difference. I gotta do something different than what I see. But taking a personal inventory of your life will help you do that. How has things influenced you to this point? How has your father influenced you or not? How has your mother influenced you? How have your community influenced you? In order to move forward, you gotta take a look back. What are some of the things that you picked up along the way that you need to let go? What are some of the habits that you have held on to that's not going to serve you well as you move forward? I can't tell you what they are. You have to take inventory and you have to make a decision. You see, I had a friend of mine in New Jersey, and when he was younger, he grew up in the South, and he had a sister. And his sister, even though we all grew up in New Jersey, his sister grew up down south in South Florida. And I was like, wait a minute, if we grew up in New Jersey, why does your sister have such a strong Southern accent? He said, well, you know what? When we were growing up, I had an aunt, and she lived in Georgia, and she had a really strong accent. And because his sister spent so much time around her, she influenced her, and she picked up this strong accent. My suggestion and my question to you, who are you around where you're going to pick up some of the things that they have? My recommendation to you, take a look at your surroundings and make sure the individuals that surround you is where you want to go. What is it that you do now that you know if you hold on to it, it's not going to serve you well as you move forward? And so as you take a look at yourself, what are your passions? What are you passionate about? What is it that you feel you were created in this world to make an impact on? Take a look at yourself and think about it. What do you regard as your greatest achievement? Ask yourself this question. If you had life to live over again, what would you do? If time and money was not a hesitation or objection, what would you be doing? Now is the time for you to think about it. Now is the time for you to take action. You see, after I played in the NFL, I decided to do two things. One, I wanted to be a motivational speaker. I wanted to speak into people's lives. I wanted to be a fertilizer to help people grow from the inside out. And secondly, I started my own foundation for youth, teenagers, and parents, developing them in life skill and leadership skills while giving them a chance to succeed. Have you found that something in your life? Something that you can work on, something that impacts people. You see, I have a friend who works with physically handicapped individuals, and she was a person that before she started working there, she was always walking around depressed. She was complaining, she was mean. But afterwards, she said working with other people really fulfilled her life. You see, she found herself when she lost herself in the service of others. What is your biggest setback? What is your biggest defeat over the past 6 weeks? What is it about you that if somebody knew about you, they wouldn't want to be in a relationship with you? Now, don't go telling them what that is. Just take a look and account of what that is and start working on it. Work on yourself. You see, there's a famous writer, his name's James Allen. He said, we are the masters of our soul. We are the makers and shapers of our destiny, our circumstances, and our environments. Those things that I'm suggesting to you are the things that were spoken to me. As you look at your life, you look at your dreams and goals, know that life will call you and life will test you. I remember a moment in my life 10 years ago where after I was playing, you would have thought that I had everything together. I was someone, I had 10 years in the NFL, I was making millions of dollars, I had plenty of people around me that wanted to build me up and help me, but little did people know that I was in a place where I felt out of control. For once in my life, I was in a place where my relationships was up and down. My plans, my goals, I didn't know whether I was coming or where I was going. It felt like the walls of my mind could not protect me. I had everything together from the outside, but on the inside, there was a void. You see, some of you may know what I'm talking about. You hear me with some hear me with their ears and some hear me with their heart. You're here today, but you have no idea what tomorrow holds for you. I know exactly what's that like. You cross one hurdle, but you have no idea what's happening next. I remember asking myself, what was happening to me and why was it happening to me? I was living a life where everything appeared to be great on the outside, but nobody knew what was going on the inside, and I couldn't explain it either. You see, I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. And I was embarrassed to tell anybody because despite everybody wanting to help me, nobody can do it for me. You see, I had to take that journey all by myself. I had to walk through life. You're going to have to go through things, and you will go through things where life will call you and life will test you. You see, in the midst of all that, I had a grandma. Her name was Arlene. She told me, she said, Donovan, she wrapped her arms around me and said, Donovan, everything will be okay. I want to share with you and let you know that as you travel life, no matter what you go through, no matter what it looks like, feels like, sounds like, everything will be okay. You see, just as gold is tried in the fire, you're going to go through fires. You're going to go through things that will really prove to you who you really are. You see, I've never been to an amusement park where I went to a roller coaster that I loved, and I sat at the end and watched everybody ride on a roller coaster. But standing at the end of that roller coaster, you don't get the enjoyment of the people coming off of the roller coaster unless you get on it yourself. See, in this life, in order to enjoy the journey, you have to take the ride. And the last thing I want to tell you guys is this is something I used to do when I used to go through some of the toughest challenges in my life. I call it getting my mind right. See, I had to motivate myself. I had to encourage myself. I'll never forget, I was at Pittsburgh my first year in the NFL, and we were going against a team, Pittsburgh Steelers, and they had this guy on their team, Jerome Bettis, and this guy was a really big guy, 6'3", 270, and I was a rookie, 6'1", 215 pounds, soaking wet. And this guy, he was a beast. They called him the bus because he used to carry people around and he used to run over people. And so I remember I was in the locker room. We was playing them up at Three River Stadium, and we were losing at halftime because this guy was running all over the place. And when I got into the locker room, I'm sitting there, and all I hear from people around me is complaining. Oh man, coach didn't call this play. Oh man, this guy missed his block. Just complaining. But in the midst of all that, and I'm sure you can understand, I'm sitting there and I'm listening and I'm looking, and I'm like, it gotta be better than this. And so in the midst of all that, I heard a word in the back of my mind, and it said, Donovan, if you want to make a change, it starts with you. So I got up, I went to the bathroom, put my helmet on the sink, I looked in the mirror, and I said, Donovan, it's about to go down. I went outside for the second half. We kicked the ball off to him. And on the very first play of the second half, I'm standing in my stands. He's sitting on the other side. And this guy, he over there growling. And I'm on the other side of my stands. And I'm thinking to my whole self, listen, if I'm going to make a difference, if you're going to make a difference in what's been going on in your family, it starts with you. If you're going to make a difference in the cycle of your family, it starts with you. If you're going to make a difference in the people around you, it starts with you. And so I'm in my stands, and Cordell Stewart, the quarterback, was under center. He was like, green 80, green 80. Said, hut. Snapped the ball, handed it to Jerome Bettis. Jerome was coming downhill, and all I'm thinking, I don't care how big I am. I don't care how big he is. With the right attitude, it's about to go down. So I came and I hit this guy so hard. I came down here, and matter of fact, if you go to YouTube, you'll see that hit. I hit him, boom. He fell down, his jersey was here, his helmet was crooked. I got up and I was like, yeah. I was excited. Now, I wasn't excited because I didn't have any doubt. I wasn't excited because I didn't have any fear. I was excited because in the midst of doubt, in the midst of fear, in the midst of what I saw, I made a decision that it starts with me. And I want to encourage you. It starts with you. After every game after that, when I saw him, he came up to me. He said, Double D, let's have a good game. I earned his respect. And it's the same thing for you. In closing, you are God's greatest masterpieces. There is nobody like you. There is no duplication. It can only be imitation. You're here for a great purpose, and that purpose is to bring something magnificent and wonderful to this world. Eyes have not seen, ears haven't even heard the great things that you guys are doing. And so I encourage you today, be great, dare to dream, be different, and live your life to the fullest. Thank you guys, and may God bless you.